Well, I've taken the new to us anyway, about 4 months ago, fuel pump apart. I just wanted to double check the electrical motor, and it was good. But the boot, filter boot that fits on the outside of the housing, this is the old one. I just happen to have a new one laying around, so I cut it apart. I didn't see any major large particles, but of course I didn't do a total mutilation, so I think it's probably going to be good that I replace it anyway. The inside of the housing had like a light residue of rust on the interior. I kind of wiped it out, and the filter, or not the filter, but the fuel pump itself has a small boot attached to it, and it does not come off. So I put that portion into the evapor rust in a glass container inside the house. So at the moment, I'm just going to set everything aside here. Hopefully I can remember how it all reassembles. It's not terrible shape, but it's not as good as I would have liked after the engine not even running, and myself cleaning out the fuel tank once already. So it must have just been the residual fuel that came back out through the return line, and the actual feed line probably had rust and moisture in it that contaminated everything else. So next step is see if I can do some purging on the return line from the engine to the tank. Okay, the tank is cleaned again. I took the fuel pump out, totally disassembled it. I soaked the bottom of the fuel pump, which has a small filter boot on it, and evapor rust overnight, and then I placed this, or the fuel pump, in a container, filled it with 99% alcohol, applied power, purged it out, got some rusty residue out, dumped that, did it again until it was clean, and then I ran seafoam through it just to help lube it, help prevent flash rust, at least I hope so, and then reassembled the entire fuel pump all over again and placed it in here. The O-ring that I got from McMaster car was just probably a millimeter too small, so it didn't fit in the groove, but it did fit on top of the lip. So what I did is I oiled the lip and the groove, and then placed the O-ring on it, placed the fuel pump with, of course, the plate on top of the lip, and as I pressed down, it pressed the O-ring out into the groove. I verified that just by looking at it at various points with a flashlight, and I could see that there was no metal showing. So at that point I just cranked her down, and then just to make sure I have no more moisture intrusion from this point, I went around the outside edge with some gasket maker sealant, just lightly, just right underneath the lip, all the way around. And of course I cleaned that area up with some alcohol so it would stick well. And I think this, I don't know, I think it's a part of a overflow, or, you know, I really don't know. I had the idea that it had something to do with the EPA, but it might also have something to do with in case the vehicle turns upside down. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me that way, so it probably has something to do with the EPA. This line gets connected to another line which is underneath there, and I had to cut an old section off, so I'm just connecting it with a barb and hose clamps. And this line here, previously someone had just kind of capped it off and hooked it up there, so I guess that's some type of event, no clue. Either way, it ran for X number of years in that manner, so I'm leaving it. The big point is the tank is clean, purged, or like I said, I soaked it with evapor rust overnight, wiped down 100%. It is very clean, and then of course clean the fuel pump again, and I'm going to leave it open here overnight just to allow a little bit extra moisture out from my cleaning. And then tomorrow is the big day. we're gonna stick that puppy back up in there. I've got all the lines purged with alcohol and seafoam, front and back, before and after fuel filter, inline fuel filter. Oh, also, when I was cleaning out the fuel pump with that container and the alcohol, the flow was really good when I connected to the 12-volt battery. No stuttering, no hesitation, no spurts, very good flow. So I have to imagine that that's just working well. Like I said, at this point I'm just going to do a little cleanup today, and then tomorrow the tank's going to go back in, and as soon as I get that tank in and locked down, everything connected, I'm going to start putting gas in it. I don't want any exposed metal. I want to limit that as much as possible. Now I've got 5 gallons here of non-ethanol, and probably it's not worth it. It's about a quarter of a gallon. So anyway, initially 5 gallons of the non-eth. That's going to go in. Then I go down to the store and get another 5 gallons, dump it in. At that point, I probably will attempt to start it. I don't see anything else precluding it from starting. Like I said, all lines have been cleaned. Fuel tank's clean, filters clean, fuel filters clean. Got various new parts here and there clean. I was able to get the return line cleaned out. I did not remove the feed line from the rail because I used that whole system to clean out the rail, and we purged it until we had completely clear alcohol coming through. So I think we're going to be hopefully starting this beast in just a day or two. We'll see.